Hi everyone, my name is Ariel Tarosky, and I serve as the Director of Education and Communication for Triangle Fraternity. I want to thank you for taking the time to view this webinar training on bystander intervention. By you being here shows us that you're committed to making a change in your chapter and community and that you care about the safety of your brothers and friends. Before we begin, I want you to take a couple seconds and think about what your definition of bystander behavior or bystander intervention is. So hopefully your definition isn't too different than the one that we're going to discuss today, but if it is, not to worry, because we are going to provide you with the tools and resources that are going to help you effectively intervene on risky situations. The goals that we want to accomplish through Step Up training are to help educate everyone on helping behaviors that will assist you when intervening in problems. We also want to increase your motivation to help others. And then we want to help develop the confidence that will assist you in empowering your brothers and friends to intervene. So now while we can give you all those tools and resources, it really means nothing unless you have the ability to act. So we want to give you those real life scenarios that are going to help you when you leave this training and are out in the real world. So let's give you a little bit of backstory about Step Up. This program was developed by the University of Arizona after they conducted a pilot study of over 3,000 students, in which they found some striking results. Up to 88% of respondents believed problems could be avoided with intervention, up to 99% believed something should be done to intervene in a problem, and up to 85% said that they wanted to learn intervention skills. So hopefully some of those statistics resonate with you. This program was named Step Up because it's a universal term and phrase that we're all familiar with, and I'm sure as being a member of a fraternity, you hear it all the time. You need to step up to rise to the occasion, give your best when the situation demands it most, and accept and embrace change. So for the next 30 to 40 minutes, we're going to be discussing the following things: why people don't help, strategies to overcome barriers that are really real in this day and age, and then how to apply those strategies to everyday situations. If you're here because you know that there are some serious changes that need to happen in your chapter community, then there are some key elements that we need to remember when beginning this process. First, we need to assume that most people want to do the right thing. Second, we need to consider the power of peers. 90% of people say that they turn to their peers when they are struggling. So this puts you in a good situation as a fraternity member because in most cases you know what the issues are. Third, you're more likely to be successful with a non-judgmental delivery. It needs to be more about discussing the problem and solving together and collaborating. The focus needs to be positive and healthy and show that you have respect for participants in the process of change. And fourth, we have to recognize the circle of influence. There are many intelligent, caring administrators, students, and leaders, but it's the one in the middle of it that has the most influence. So while you can ask for a speaker to come in and help, or while we can do this presentation for you, it's all about you and you creating the change because you are in the middle of the situation. The other things that are important to keep in mind beyond the key elements to bystander intervention are these truths. Most problems happen in group settings, which is why fraternities and sororities struggle so much with this. Friends are usually in a better position to do something, and that you will be in a situation in which you can help in the future. So chances are when you get a situation that doesn't concern you and there's nothing that you can do, you can. No matter these elements or truths, the overall goals of Step Up is to help educate so that individually you can make positive and informed decisions, but to also understand that you're part of a larger community and you should look out for each other. So when you get back to your chapter or you're in a chapter situation, I want you to look around. Look around at the people that are sitting next to you. Those are your brothers. When you notice something going on, do something. Help can be direct or indirect, but you just need to do something. So I want you to think about what these letters mean. If you haven't guessed it, it means what would you do? This is a really real question that I want you to think about as we go through the rest of the presentation today. That if you were in these scenarios, what would you do? So we're going to take a look at one of these videos of what would you do. and we are going to see a real-life situation of the bystander effect in play.
Place like this street in New York City, if you were unfortunate enough to be the victim of a crime or taken ill unexpectedly, you might think that surrounded by all these people, someone would intervene. After all, isn't there safety in numbers? Psychologists say no. Research suggests that often a victim is less likely to receive assistance when surrounded by a group rather than a single bystander. When people are in a crowd, it's easier to pass the buck. It's what psychologists call the diffusion of responsibility. Liverpool Street Station in London, a busy thoroughfare for commuters. Unknown to these passers-by, Peter is an actor. As part of an experiment on bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill.
Help! Help!
How long before he gets help?
Please, somebody. Help. Help me, sir. Please help me.
Helping would be inconvenient or even risky. He lies there for more than 20 minutes and no one raises an eyebrow.
Please, somebody help me.
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule that we ought to help, and the other is the rule that we ought to do what everybody else is doing. And here you have effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help. And it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Four minutes later, and 34 people have passed without stopping.
Well, people don't really want to know. They just haven't got the time. Well, they have got the time, they just don't want to get involved.
Unwittingly, these strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
You alright? You alright?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, you look a bit clicky, you know what I mean?
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule: to help.
You want to sit up?
She don't look well, does she?
You alright, yeah? Yes, you are.
First I thought she was dead. Then I sort of checked to see if she was breathing or not. And I looked around and I couldn't believe that no one had noticed her, because there was a bloke sat there just absorbed in reading a newspaper.
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued?
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm alright.
6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
Do you suffer from epilepsy?
No.
Why you're lying on the floor in the rain?
Because he's part of the right group, everyone wants to help.
I would just hate to be in his position of feeling ill and nobody helping and walking past, so I'd just like to check that he was okay.
And I thought, well, it's wet, so he must really be ill because he's going to ruin his suit anyway.
So I want you to think about some of the things that were brought up during this, that there's two groups. There's the group that could do something, and then there's a group that forms of the people that decide not to do anything. And I want you to think about that woman that stopped and considered helping but didn't until someone else stepped in. When does this show its face in our fraternity experience? So now that we start to think about the steps that we must take to intervene, there are 3 variables that affect helping. First is you. Your knowledge, confidence, or skill set around a certain issue may determine whether you intervene or not. Additionally, your sense of social responsibility. So you may know that a big issue that people are leaving babies in hot cars over the summer, and that really upsets you. You walk past a car, see a baby locked in a car screaming and crying, and so you bust the window. Another variable is the situation. What is the severity of the need? Are there other people around? What are the costs of helping? So with this same baby situation, you go into a local shop and don't see anyone and no one is around and the baby looks really sick. You realize that you would be damaging the car, but you need to get that baby out as soon as possible. The third variable is the victim. Do you know the person? Do you think they deserve help? Will they accept it? You know the baby doesn't deserve to be locked in a car on a 95-degree day. They are helpless. So in order for you to actually intervene and help, all 5 of these steps must occur. Failure at any one of these steps will result in no help. And it's important to note that almost every reason a person may give for not intervening will fall into one of these 5 steps. And again, while some of those reasons are understandable, we want to continue to educate you on these factors so that you can be more prepared to help in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some time to go through each step and discuss the barriers to helping. And then we're going to review strategies to overcome these challenges. To put this into context, I want us to take another look at a quick video of the bystander effect playing out in a very real situation.
Day turns into night.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom really quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This next patron sees the pill drop in. He tries to play it cool.
They just roofed, those 2 guys just roofied her drink.
Are you leaving right now?
No, I'm going out for a smoke because I'm making it look like I'm doing something, not just ratting them out so they run. Okay. I'll be right outside.
While he's out, we tell the guys to drug the drink again since this woman missed it the first time.
What are you doing? Guys, I didn't see that, did I?
What? See what?
You put something in that drink.
That sounds crazy.
I can't watch this.
I don't know.
You're so bad.
She's stunned. Will she blow the whistle?
Hey, there you are. What the heck?
Now Lauren's back.
Go. Yeah, that's it.
And all she can do is just watch.
Oh, here it comes.
That's when this man makes his move.
Don't drink that. These 2 guys put something in that drink.
I don't.
Oh, yes, I was watching your little college drama. It was pretty entertaining.
Now that he's got the ball rolling, will she step up too?
Did you guys see anything?
I didn't see it.
No?
I don't know what they're talking about. I think you should just mind your own business, sir.
My nephew's a state trooper.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why I'm not letting these guys go in it. You want me to call 911?
911, what's your mercy?
I'm at the Mason Jar in Mawa.
Okay.
And I just witnessed 2 gentlemen drug a woman's drink.
But he doesn't stop there. Anthony Nagito heads over to the entrance, takes off his hoodie, and then to our surprise, ties up the exit.
What's going on here? I'm John Quinones. With what would you do?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Show me what you did over here.
Well, I'm not gonna let them leave.
You
I
tied
give them
the...
something to hand to the door, and I'm gonna cover it with in front of them.
That is amazing.
I always like to joke to everybody that my mother raised me right.
Consequences could be serious, right?
For all of them. You gonna stand by and do nothing?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
You wish you would have done more.
I was afraid of them. If they do that to her and the cops come, what will they do to me? That was my fear. As a woman.
That's very legitimate, I guess.
Yeah, but that's awful. And I will toss and turn about this for a long time.
If you think about when you're trying to intervene in a situation, you need to do these 5 things. So first, you need to notice the event. In this situation that I just explained, it seemed that every bystander noticed the men acting aggressively towards the woman and putting something in her drink. Like I said, the first girl immediately interrupted their behavior and them drugging the drink as a problem. And as soon as she noticed that this was a problem, she assumed personal responsibility and knew that she needed to intervene. So there we have this, noticed the event, she interpreted them drugging her drink as a problem, and then she assumed personal responsibility because she wanted to do something about it. When she determined that intervention was necessary, she made up the lie about having the same class so that she could engage the troubled girl in the conversation. So like I said, there were different ways that all of these people handled it, whether it was getting physical or yelling. This woman decided that she was going to make up a story so that she could spend time with the girl and intervene in the situation that way. The other bystanders, there was a couple, they could have done more. They decided to tell the waitress about the situation, and then, like I said, one man actually tied the door shut. So all of them noticed the event, they interpreted it as a problem, they assumed personal responsibility, and then they decided how they wanted to help. I think that it's also important to note that the individuals that didn't intervene, like the woman at the end who just watched, she noticed the event, saw it as a problem, because she even made a comment about it when they interviewed her at the end. In the moment, it appeared she didn't assume personal responsibility, but later we found out that she did and just didn't know how to help. So that is a prime example of if one of these pieces doesn't work, or you don't complete it, then you're not effectively stepping up and you're not effectively intervening. So you can notice it as an event, you can interpret it as a problem, and you can say that I probably should do something about it, but maybe you just don't know how. And so unfortunately, that's where the intervention fails. So besides noticing the event, one of the first things that needs to happen is for you to interpret a situation as a problem or not. I bet you think that it would be easy to interpret if something is a problem or not, but you would be surprised that there are two large factors that play a role into being able to easily identify situations as problems or not. The first is ambiguity. It sometimes is hard to tell if someone is in need of help. Just like in the first video, while it would have been weird, maybe that woman was resting, or did she fall, but she wasn't hurt? How do you know for sure? One way to always err on the side of caution is to investigate. The second thing that makes it hard for us to identify a problem or to act is this idea of conformity. We're all exposed to group pressure, and there's several different kinds. There's informational influence, and that's when you think someone knows more than you do or has more information than you do, so you follow their lead. There's pluralistic ignorance, and that's where a majority knows that there's something wrong, but no one else looks or acts concerned, so you think you must be the only one, and thus you do nothing. There's normative influence, and that's when you go with the group to fit in so that you are liked or accepted. And that's what we tend to see happen in a college setting with your peers. Groupthink is when members try to minimize conflict and reach consensus without critically testing, analyzing, and evaluating ideas. Groupthink may cause groups to make hasty, irrational decisions where individual doubts are set aside due to a desire to avoid being seen as foolish or to avoid embarrassing or angering other members of the group. Again, this is probable in a student organization or fraternity experience. Sometimes it's really difficult to go against the grain, and you don't want to step out from what other people think is the norm. So this idea of groupthink can really affect us in intervening in risky situations. This idea also of the spiral of silence is when someone thinks that they're in the minority, that they are less likely to voice an opinion. So people who don't directly engage in a problematic situation still contribute to the problem with their silence. So sometimes we see if you're a new member or maybe someone that doesn't have an executive board position, you feel that you're in the minority and you don't have the place to say anything. But contrary to that, you actually do have a responsibility to intervene. While ambiguity and conformity do play a huge role in determining if there's a problem or not, typically it's still easy to identify. One of the most challenging parts of the step-up model is step 3, which is actually assuming the personal responsibility. Research shows that if you are alone, you will help 80% of the time. But if you're in a group, you'll only help 20% of the time because of the diffusion of responsibility. And that's where you think someone else will do something. Obviously, this can be pretty tricky as part of a fraternity or a Greek community because of the constant group dynamic. When a situation occurs, you may assume someone else is going to do something, but in reality, they're probably thinking the exact same thing. It's important to note that diffusion of responsibility is not bystander apathy. People may truly be concerned and want to help, but they think someone else will do something because they are more likely to, or because they are more qualified. So let's think about this in the context of fraternity. Don't rationalize away your responsibility to addressing a problem by saying, I'm not the risk manager. I don't think this is my issue to get involved with. Truth be told, if it is a problem of the fraternity, then it's a problem of yours. When you do decide to address an issue, Verbalize your intent by letting the people involved know that you're looking out for their health and safety. It'll make it a lot easier that they know that you care. So you don't want to just come at them and start accusing and yelling and screaming, because that will probably turn some people off. If you let people know that they're your brother and you care about them and you want to see the best for them, they're more likely to respond in a positive way. You're a brotherhood for a reason. You'll typically be more successful if you ask others to help you intervene in a difficult situation. So just to paint a better picture of what I mean when I say about this diffusion of responsibility, let's watch a short clip and hopefully it will work.
What would you do if you saw someone, especially a child, in trouble? Would you jump in to help or assume that somebody else would do it? Recently, we went to the streets of suburban New York and put some folks to the test. Last time, security specialist Bill Stanton put 2 parents to the test to see if what they've taught their kids about the danger of strangers would serve them in a real-life situation. Today, he puts the public to the test. With the help of 7-year-old Raquel, Bill staged an abduction to see if the public would take action. Raquel's mom, Deborah, watched from a surveillance van as Raquel was approached by Bill.
Hey, where were you, young lady?
You're not my dad! You're not my dad!
It's unbelievable, but they did nothing.
Help me!
Bill and Raquel repeated this time after time.
Hey!
Please, someone help me! You're not my dad! Please, someone help me! You're not my dad! Please!
Still no response.
It's frightening that nobody would help.
One woman walked right by, believing someone else would take action.
Never go away from your dad. You hear me? Don't you ever go away from your dad.
And why didn't she do anything?
You think that someone else will take the blame, someone else will take the responsibility.
A police sergeant on location to supervise was stunned.
I felt it was unbelievable that people just didn't want to get involved. They'd look, they'd turn around, they'd see with a commotion, but they just kept on walking. They didn't want to get involved, in my opinion.
Bill would have been long gone with 7-year-old Raquel. It took hours, but 2 men finally listened to their instincts.
Help me! You're not my dad! Someone 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 help me!
Oh, TV. Cops right there. Cops right there. Good job.
She was saying, stop, someone help me, she's not my dad, he's not my dad. And I was like, first I thought she was being a little disobedient, but then you weren't saying nothing, so I was like, we gotta stop this guy.
They parked the car and I just ran over to get him. Yeah, I was gonna take him down, man. Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
And I gotta tell you, all you guys were good. You spread out. Yeah, I wasn't getting away. No, you guys were...
Pretty hard to believe that all those bystanders actually hearing the young girl scream for help and didn't stop. Note how even the one woman said she didn't want to be the one to take the blame and that she thought someone else would step in. Our main message by showing this is that it's important to have the courage and the confidence to be the first one to step up.
Aren't letting the bad guy go anywhere.
That was amazing. I actually had tears in my eyes, but everyone ran out and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that they did what they did. And you would expect more people to react that way. I think just people are afraid to get involved.
Bill Stanton, good morning.
Good morning.
This is unbelievable. I mean, you watch this and you just think, what is the deal? How do you explain so much of that response?
It's tough stuff. I have goosebumps on my arms right now. It's called the bystander effect. This was a study done a couple of years ago where the more there are people watching something go down, the less likely someone's going to take action.
But here's the thing. A lot of, in some of the episodes there, even though you could hear little Raquel saying, "This is not my dad," and that's the key point. At other times, it was just, don't you get away, don't you ever go away like that. So it could seem like there was just a child misbehaving and that you were the dad.
Yeah, but David, I'll put it to you this way: much rather be safe than sorry. Second guess yourself, but at least point it out. Say something. Call 911.
Right, but in other words, is a lot of that background noise for these people walking by? They think, "Oh, we've seen this 100 times. It's just a kid acting up."
No, I think part of it is we live in a fast food society. Everybody's in tune with what they have to do. They see something going down, go proactive.
So he said it exactly right. We need to be proactive. We need to not be so into our own reality and what is just happening with us. We need to be aware of our surroundings and realize that risk management is not just about the management of risk for ourselves, but those people that are around us. So while that situation can definitely and certainly happen in real life, I want to show another video that may be more true to the college experience. As we go through this, I want you to think about who are the people that could have intervened.
Sexual assaults are happening to young women and men, and one more is too many. Visit whoareyou.co.nz for contact details, help and support. You can be the difference in how the story ends.
So as you were watching it, hopefully you started to notice some of the people that were responsible. Some of you may be thinking that the male is responsible, and absolutely. But what I really want to focus on are the other characters throughout this video that were bystanders and could have intervened.
Emily! Thanks for bringing her home. Where are you staying tonight?
I was just going to stay here.
Sweet, I'll get your blanket for the couch.
Right here. You stay there. You okay? You need a taxi? Let's go.
What can I get you?
2 double rum and coke and 2 shots of vodka.
Sure. So how's your night?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Alright. Who are you here with?
Laura, Marcia, and
There? Sorry! Excuse me!
You okay? Yeah. Thanks, mate. See ya.
So who were you in this video? How many of you have ever been in a similar situation? Whether you were the one taking the person home, being the person taken home, or one of the people along the way. I bet watching it now you're thinking, wow, why didn't anyone step up and stop that? I wanted to show this video not only as another way to show how it is possible for everyone to take responsibility and step up, but because this is a situation that can be one that is very real for you. We want to make sure that you know that it is your personal responsibility and that you know how to act. Many times people want to help, but either they don't know what to do in a particular situation or how to do it. It's important that you never put yourself in harm's way, but it is still important that you find a way to do something. A tip is to always be prepared. Think about what you would do in a certain situation, and when that happened, what would it be? And if that situation arises, what would be your game plan? It's harder to think clearly when suddenly put in a difficult situation. When we actually get to the point where you're ready to intervene, you may go into a cost versus reward mentality. Cost could be something as simple as time, but it could also be the fear of retaliation, embarrassment, or going against the group, all of which are really real things. It could be the fear of getting in trouble, or that help will be ineffective or even dangerous. We recommend that you carefully consider the situation before taking any action, that you think of alternative options should you need support, and that you create shared and agreed upon standards of behavior and expectations within any group or organization so that no one is that surprised when you intervene in the first place. So this would be talking with your chapter brothers and talking about really real situations that may occur and what is going to be the standard procedure should someone see that happening. As we start to transition to the action piece of this, I need everyone to remember this as they try to find the courage, that all problems start off as minor things. So if we try to rationalize an issue within our organization as something small or minor, by you not stepping in at that point, it could potentially become way worse. Minor things can gradually escalate as people keep pushing the limits because then the norm becomes that it is acceptable. You must do something as soon as you notice the problem. If we understand what contributes to the problems like environment, community, or the people, we can intervene in the chain of events that create the likelihood of incidents and harm, just like the sexual assault video. You as a chapter and you as the individual need to determine where you draw the line on certain issues. We are not having these conversations enough, and they are crucial to the success of our organizations.
We never think that terrible things will happen to us.
Transporting one to Sibley Hospital for alcohol poisoning.
Or to the people we know. The truth is, many students face issues, including alcohol abuse, dating violence, hazing, sexual assault, and mental health emergencies.
I'm a 19-year-old male. I have no fault.
Many times we have the opportunity to prevent it, but we just don't notice until it's too late. But what if you could step up to make a difference?
Will you step up? First, notice that something is happening. Know what's going on around you.
Second, recognize that something is wrong. If something doesn't seem right, it probably isn't.
Third, take personal responsibility. If not you, then who?
Fourth, know how you can help. There are lots of ways that you can intervene.
Finally, step up to help using one of the 3 Ds. Direct, delegate, or distract. You could be the difference.
All night, baby. Come on, Chuck.
Who's next? Who's next? Come on. Come on.
You can be direct if something doesn't seem right. Hey, I think you've had enough. Let's take a break and get you some water.
You saw me standing right there. You acted like I didn't even exist. You're making me.
I can't
you
do
don't have
anything.
no freaking respect. Hey, man.
I don't think you should be yelling at her like that.
Maybe you should take a walk.
Are you all right?
Hey, Jonathan, are you coming out tonight?
No, I don't feel like doing anything. Or seeing anyone.
Oh, okay. I hope you feel better. I'll see you later. If you don't feel comfortable, or you don't know what to do, you can delegate. Ask someone else to get involved. Hey, can I talk to you? I'm really worried about Jonathan.
You wanna get out of here? My dorm room's nearby.
It's as easy as causing a distraction. My roommate's really drunk. Could you distract him while I get her out of here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, buddy, aren't you in my econ class?
Your econ class? Yeah.
Hey, you look tired. You wanna go back to the room? You can be the difference. Be more than just a bystander. It's what we do here at American University.
Keep in mind your safety and the well-being of others when assessing a situation and deciding what actions to take. You have options. If you don't feel safe directly intervening, you can cause a distraction, or you can delegate and get someone else involved.
So clearly this was a really well put together video by American University that I wanted to share with you. Watching this, how did some of those pieces make you feel? Think about, have you ever been involved in a similar situation? Have any of you ever intervened or prevented a situation similar to these? What did that look like? Also, I hate to make our minds go there, but think about how you would feel if a tragic situation happened. Clearly, there are various ways to intervene. You can do it directly, you can delegate responsibilities, or you can distract. It may be the case that you won't have all the answers, so either distracting from the situation or delegating the tasks to appropriate help, like the counselor or police, can make all the difference. Think about those situations, or maybe even different ones, that you've been involved with and didn't intervene for one reason or another. Consider the consequences if you didn't help. Is it actually worth it? So I want us to talk about the strategies for effective helping, as well as the appropriate levels of intervention, so that you feel prepared when you leave here today. It's important that you respond safely. Never put yourself in harm's way. Make a call to 911 if it's necessary, and don't be afraid to engage others. Intervening sooner than later is better. Remember that snowball effect. What was once a small problem which could be dealt with quickly and simply can soon become a crisis. And make sure your helping is effective. Know what to do and how to do it. Remember the law of delivery. Who, which are the people, what, which is the content, when, the timing, where, location and privacy, why, the reasons, and how, your tone. Some situations may be more urgent than others. Give careful consideration to what the best intervention method may be, and know your strengths as an intervener. When intervening in an emergency, don't forget to stay calm, gather all the information, consider your options on if you should be direct in your intervention or indirect, provide support, but don't become too enmeshed, and know your limits. Walk away and call for help if it's unsafe. This would apply more to an immediate situation, like if you see one of your friends extremely intoxicated and in need of medical attention. You need to respond quickly. In non-emergency situations, make sure you consider the duration of the situation. Take time to define the problem and the barriers, determine the goal, and develop your game plan, and set boundaries. Don't enable. Maintain respect while you carry out your game plan, and consider options should you need help. Non-emergency helping would be more applicable if you see your brother dealing with a drug dependency issue. Clearly, it's important and needs to be addressed, but it may not necessarily require immediate intervention. You have time to consider the options and how you want to approach it and what your resources are. Many times when the issues deal with your brother or friend, it's hard to approach them because you don't know what to say. While you don't have to use this exact language or these exact words, the general approach can be very effective. Here are some suggestions to help you create a culture of stepping up as a chapter. Use your bylaws and code of ethics as a shared and agreed upon standards of behavior, or simply have a conversation as a chapter before an event or before going out for the night. That this is the expectations of members, and if you act in a way that doesn't align with what that is, then this will happen. Continuously encourage one another to address the issues within your chapter and community. Remind them that there is strength in numbers, and if they see something that brothers should be able to talk to one another, because chances are people are feeling the exact same way. Thoughtfully and intentionally create risk management and crisis management plans as an executive board and chapter to avoid high-risk situations. So what are the issues that you know you could face, and what are the steps you can put in place to avoid them or to address them should something happen? Remember to be proactive. Make it very clear to everyone that what will happen if behaviors don't align with values and expectations of the organization. Always acknowledge and reinforce caring behaviors. Let each other know that you are stepping in because they are your brother, your family, and that you care about them. Practice your skills. It may seem weird, but doing role-playing like we just did could really help you. So now that we've had the opportunity to talk through safe ways to intervene in situations and have even done some role-playing through the videos that we watched, let's recap. When you see a problem, recognize that you care and identify what the issue is. Then think through how the situation makes you feel and how you want to make it different. Take a second and realize what your options of intervention are, and then determine what you will do. When it comes to the matter of your fraternity, always let them know that you are doing this because you care. When you are faced with a situation in which you think you should step up but it is difficult, think about how far you have come in Triangle and everything it has done for you. By not intervening, is it really worth losing a brother or your fraternity? I know that this seems dramatic, but it is very much the reality today. So, let's take care of each other and step up when we see risky situations. That concludes our webinar training on bystander intervention. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to view this training. Should you have any questions or need additional resources on how to create a risk management or crisis management plan or how to intervene in risky situations, you can always contact the national headquarters.